Hey guys, it's Hiiva. Pyke is a hard carry support that if you master, you can 1v9 the game by yourself. He has tons of damage, and if you don't feel confident that your team can carry themselves, you can do it all. With that in mind, let's get into the guide, and as usual, there are timestamps below. Pyke's passive is a Gift of the Drowned, which has two parts. Pyke's maximum health cannot increase except through crowd per level. If he buys an item with HP, he will gain bonus attack damage instead. Additionally, Pyke will store damage he has taken on top of his health bar as grey health, which if he exits vision of the enemy, he will restore some of that health. This enables Pyke to dip in and out of fights and will pair exceptionally well with the keystones you will take. Pyke's Q is Bone Skewer. Pyke charges up to 3 seconds, which will increase Bone Skewer's range, however slowing him in the process. On recast, he throws out his harpoon, dealing physical damage and pulling back anything he hits and slowing them down. If you release the ability instantly, Pyke will thrust the harpoon, prioritizing enemy champions and dealing damage to them. You can flash before letting go of your Q, get closer to the enemy, but not after. Also, holding onto your Q for a little longer can show which direction the enemy will juke in, so if you have the option to hold onto it, you should. Pyke's W is Ghost Water Dive. Pyke submerges in water, entering camouflage and gaining bonus movement speed. That decays over 5 seconds, which is increased by your lethality. Attacking or casting will exit you from the camouflage. This is also great for dipping in and out of fights and roaming around the map. It also works amazingly well with all the items you get, and you'll be zooming around the map. Pyke's E is Phantom Undertow. He dashes in target direction, leaving drowned Phantom. After 1 second, the Phantom returns to Pyke, stunning any enemies it crosses, as well as dealing physical damage to champions. This has some interesting tricks you can use. First of all, you can use it as a dash over almost all the walls in Summoner's Rift. Secondly, if you land a Q on your enemy, you can always stun them with your E by just doing Q into E, and your E will always stun unless they flash or use any dash of their own. Additionally, when using your flash with your E, wait until just before the clone is about to return to you and then flash ahead of them, so it's really hard for them to react to your stun. Pyke's R is Death from Below. Pyke marks the target area with an X, striking it and executing enemies below certain threshold or dealing physical damage. If you hit or kill a champion, Pyke will blink to the target location, and if you kill a champion with it, it will be able to cast again for 20 seconds, so it gets some reason. Each time you execute an enemy with the spell, it will grant you and the last assisting ally a cut of the kill, which will basically just give them bonus gold. Yay. This ability allows Pyke to snowball like a madman and get back into the game if you happen to fall behind. You can also use it to extend the range of your E, so you can press E and then ult into your enemies, and the E will follow you and stun them all. For runes on Pyke, you usually go Aftershock, just to make you tankier when you go in. You'll be in melee range of enemy champs, so being tanky is obviously a needed thing. On the second row, Demolish is like the only real option. You could consider Font of Life, but Demolish is like the safe way to go. Jet Bash does nothing for your champ, so yeah. Third row, Bone Plating. Like I said, you want to be tanky, you'll be brawling in melee, so Bone Plating is like the only real option. If you're facing down a lot of poke, you could consider Second Wind, but most of the time Bone Plating is the right option. And on the last row, on Resolve, Unflinching, it's nice, gives you tenacity, it's pretty nice. Can't go wrong with tenacity. You could consider going Overgrowth if enemies literally have no CC, which is pretty rare, but then on the secondary rune choice, I personally like to go Presence of Mind and Legend Tenacity. Presence of Mind is nice, just, get that mana pool up, you'll be spamming your abilities quite a lot. Can't go wrong with that. And again, Tenacity is really nice to have, since you would be brawling it out in the melee range of enemies, so getting CC locked is pretty bad, so that helps with it. And on Adaptives, double AD and either 1 armor or magic resistance is the way to go. For your build on Pyke, you want to start with Steel Shoulder Guards. Overall, it's the best support item for Pyke, since it allows you to farm up your Sightstone the most efficient way. For your boots, you generally just want to rush Moby Boots. since you want to just roam the map a lot, and Moby Boots is the best for that. You could consider going 50s against like, I don't know, Trundle or some slows, but yeah, Moby Boots are generally the boots you want on Pyke. You'll be terror on the map and enemy team will hate you. So for the actual items you want to buy on Pyke is generally just full lethality items. Like Umbral Glaive is very broken first item on Pyke. It like combines everything you want to do. It gives you damage, it gives you lethality to upgrade your W, gives you vision denial from the passive. Like it's literally the best item, the perfect item for Pyke. After that, yeah, just more lethality items, U-moves, you know, to make you even faster on the map, to make those plays happen. Edge of Night, you know, all the good lethality items. And if you're like really fed on Pyke, which generally you will be, then later on buying Guardian Angel is a solid choice as well. Obviously, you will be buying a lot of AD, but don't forget that you're still a support, so buy those pink wards. Haha. So for our skill order on Pyke, you generally always want to start Q unless you're getting invaded or enemies like 5-man invade you and you can get a 5-man stun with your E, or like, yeah, you need to like dash out level 1 to safety. Generally, it's always best to start Q since level 1 it's like the best ability, and maybe in main you can find a cheeky hook and poke your enemies down. After that, level 2 you always take E, gives you the all-in kit. You can even look to flash on enemies level 2 if you have the right matchup for it. And then level 3 obviously you take W. And then the skill order is you max Q, this is the best value, you get lower cooldown on Q, damage, you know, all the good stuff. Then secondly, on second you max W, reduced cooldown is really nice, and the increased movement speed is exactly what you want on Pyke, so you can again zoom around the map. And then lastly you take E last, obviously putting points in ult whenever you can. For summoners, it's really a no-brain. You just take Flash Ignite. There's nothing really else to consider. You're an assassin, so you want to kill people. So these are the best summoners to do that. And if you're enjoying the video, please subscribe. Pyke's early game and laning prowess isn't the greatest. He excels mostly at going all for all-ins and then hiding away in bushes or in fog of war to regain his health. Ideally, obviously, you want to hit a Q on your enemies and then just one-shot them in an all-in. But if you can't do that, then you can ask your jungler to gank bot, and it's a really easy setup since a lot of CC you can just E in, flash on the enemy, and then hook them in. And if your jungler is there, it's a free kill usually. Other than that, if you can't use your jungler or if you can't all-in them, then just staying in fog of war is really OP on Pyke because enemies will be really terrified on the map. Also, you can just like start roaming on this champ like from level 3 onwards. Like even if enemies have wards, you can just W over them and they won't see you, and you're really fast even without boots. So you can just go for a cheeky mid gank, maybe flash on him, take him out, and then be back on bot in time before they can even react usually. Pyke spikes really hard when he hits his lethality items and his ult level is up. Usually strategy for Pyke is to find picks around the map and abuse enemy side laners with the huge amount of movement speed you have. You can just zoom from top lane to bot lane. Like you can first look for a pick on top lane, maybe it doesn't work, you reset, just W away from base, run straight to bot, and usually like the enemy side laner will have no clue what's going on and just take him out for a repeat. Your team fighting is like, it's not the greatest. Like you're not really like an engaged champ like an Alistar or Leona where you just like go in and set your team up. I mean, obviously if you find like a 5-man dash E or like 5-man E, like yeah, great. But generally, like if you E into enemy team like as an engage, like as an initiation, like you will just die before anything can really happen. So generally you're like a follow-up where someone like engages the fight and then you just like skirt around in the edges of the fight looking for like an ult reset. And if you get that ult reset, then generally like you will just pop up and get a pentakill basically. Overall, Pyke is a hard carry support where if you aren't happy with the amount of damage you can put out with support, you can look to play Pyke. He can control the map extremely heavily and carry the entire game by himself. Thanks for watching the guide. If you want more guides like this, subscribe to the Monster Rugby Gaming YouTube channel. If it's more of me you want, you can follow me at Hiiva on Twitter. You can also see us play in the NLC every Tuesday and Wednesday starting 6 p.m. GMT.